Hey guys, and in today's video I'm going to be going through the most important things that I think you should know if you're trying to get sub 2/sub 130 on 5x5, and this is part 2. I made part 1 on centers a long time ago, and now I've finally got around to making part 2 on edges, and I've improved significantly since then. I'm actually averaging sub 115 at the moment, so I think I definitely have the knowledge to know how to get sub 2/sub 130. First piece of advice I'm going to give is make sure you're looking ahead while you're doing your last 2 centers. Especially, this is most important for sub 2s and sub 130, that you're doing this during your last, your last few moves, if possible. Last center, obviously, if you're a bit slower at your last 2 centers, sometimes there's so many moves and it's hard to track what pieces are moving around. So it's more important just in your last few moves that you're not just fixating on those moves and what you're doing at that point in time, but you're just letting your muscle memory kick in. Hopefully you'll know most of these cases and be quite familiar with them. And looking for what your first edge is going to be. So here, I know exactly what moves I need to do to solve the blue and orange centers. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to be looking for my first edge. And an important thing is that hopefully this edge will be, you normally get pretty lucky because there's a lot of edges on 5x5. Hopefully this will be something that's accessible, I'm not expecting you to be looking down here or something. Hopefully it'll be something up here, here, and then you can get straight into it really quickly. And also, one thing that you want to do is don't look around and sort of change how you're going to be slashing across and back. What I mean is you're going to be wanting to, when you're pairing, move these 2 layers and have this as your top and bottom where you're going to be keeping your solved edges. So now what I'm going to be talking about is once you've got onto actually solving your edges. So you've built your first one down here, and hopefully that's, if you implemented my advice, you should be always pretty much having no pauses going from centers into your first edge. And then obviously as you're doing that, as you're making your first edge, because you've already kind of planned most of it, at least you've planned how to connect 2 pieces, then once you're putting the last piece in, you'll be able to look ahead to your next piece. And there's a few, apart from that I can't really say too much. I'm just going to say always be looking for your next pieces as you're building your current edge. And that just keeps flow in the solve and means that there's no pauses, which is crucial to edges, and that's the main thing. And pretty much, I'm not sure, I don't think I can give you too much advice on how to get better at that other than practicing. It's just a matter of getting better at looking ahead and practicing. And obviously not having ridiculously bad solutions and picking fairly lucky or already somewhat set up edges. So one other thing I want to give as more of a suggestion than something you have to do, but to save yourself sort of more difficult look ahead later on in the solve, you can put all of your edges on one face. So here, let's say I was doing this, and I build that like that. It'd be a lot easier for me to just go like that, and then put it up there, but I could just quickly rotate and put it down, or just continue like this, or however, and that just saves me a little bit of time later. Once I've got all of these done, then it's just going to be a lot easier to look ahead, because all I'm going to have to look at is around here and on the top, instead of having to look on the bottom as well, which is quite frustrating when you're looking for a piece and then you realise that it's not anywhere up here and you have to look all the way down here, and it just slows you down a bit. So if you do that, that'll just save you look ahead, but it can sometimes ruin your flow a bit. If you're quite good at looking ahead, it can ruin your flow. So yeah, it's up to you whether you want to do that, if you think it's going to help you or if it's not. I would say it probably is going to help you, but if you're going for sub 2 or sub 130, it's probably going to help you. it could probably even help me, even though I don't do it right at the moment. So, another thing that I'm going to say is, this is quite beginner advice, but if you're not doing this, because I know I myself didn't do this to begin with, when you're building an edge, so let's say I'm doing this, once you've built it, hopefully you've looked ahead to your next one, so I see that I'm going to do red and white, because I see that these two pieces are easily there. It's quite obvious that you just need to insert that one, and then continue from there. But what I was doing at first is, if I wasn't really too sure, I would just kind of quickly put in a random piece and then kind of start looking ahead. It's more important for you to try and find what your next edge is going to be, and then swap that out for the one that you've already made, rather than just quickly getting that onto the top, because it's just wasting moves when you could be saving moves by actually using them to get the next edge you're going to be solving in this layer. So if I was to be doing this next, because I see the other piece down here, instead of just going like this and then looking around for my next one, obviously just go like that, and then look for my next one, see what I'm going to do next, and then insert this. However, obviously in this situation, I think I'd probably choose just to do this one next, and I know that it must be on the bottom, so I'll just insert it up there and then continue from there. Alright, so now I'm going to go on to last 4 edges. So I'm actually not very good. I'd say this is one of my weakest steps in a 5x5 solve, but I'm going to try and give some advice, because obviously some people are going to have even less clue than I do. So pretty much I'd say what cases do I want to talk about? I'm going to talk about this case here. Okay, when you've got two like this, they're two of the same but they're not solved, and you've got another one, you can just slice across, flip and slice back, and that'll solve it. Okay, and if you have this case, that's parity if it's on its own, obviously. If it's not, you can always just take that out and flip like that, and that will also flip this one. So if you've got two like this, hang on, let me just set it up. If you've got two like this, that will solve that. And another case I want to go over is this case. So if you've got two like this and two like this, instead of doing something like that, you can just do this. But that requires these to be the same colour. I could also do it for these ones. And it will mess up the two up here if they were solved. So don't do that if those are your last two. Oops. If these are my last two, obviously I'm not going to be able to do that. I would just go like this. But if you know the last two edges algorithms, you wouldn't. But yeah, that's what I have to offer on last 4 edges. So hopefully this video was somewhat helpful on 5x5 edges. I apologise if it was sometimes hard to follow. If you've got any questions, just leave them in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching.